Ты ствол-то убери. Оружие опусти.
Завязывай, ладно? Надоело. Здорово. Как-то не цепляет. Подушевнее бы.
Оружие убрал.
Так, убери оружие.
Убью!
Sklidni, chlape. Poslouchej, dám ti malou nalejvárnu.
Мужики, тут волк прислал нам подмогу и приказ атаковать. Так что вперед! Геройствовать!
Я его подранил!
Дай ему прикурить, я обойду!
Тебе крышка!
Держи от меня! Обманул одного!
Вновь слушай, скотина!
Wolfe, továrna vyčištěna. Vracíme se na výchozí pozici. Konec.
Máš to u mě, brácho. Nezapomenu ti to.
Одни как разбойничали, так и разбойничают. Другие то ли нас от зоны, то ли зону от нас охраняют. Солдаты, блин, тоже. Человека им шлепнуть, что высморкаться.
Опять сапожища хреновые подсунули. Что у них совести совсем нету у этих? За неделю подошве гоплык. Внимание, анекдот. Старый и молодой долговцы идут по зоне. Вдруг старый останавливается и шепотом говорит молодому. Тихо.
Co pak? Hej, no, až budeš muset jít. To není špatný. Hezký kousky. To není špatný. Fajn. Stav si, až budeš mít víc. No, nadechej se a pojď dovnitř.
Оружие убрал. Ты ствол-то убери. Оружие убрал.
Классно, правда. Душевно.
Máš. To není špatný. Hezký kousky. 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 Hodnej kluk. Dneska si mě potěšil. No, nadechej se a pojď dovnitř.
About 3 months ago I made a special Stalker iceberg for the occasion of my 100th video. Back then I said that I would explain the elements on the iceberg if
Hello Stalkers and welcome to my channel. And this right here is my first and biggest project yet. This is the definitive Stalker iceberg. The reason I call it that is that I have found several icebergs on the internet, relating to Stalker, but most of them were either too small or, in my opinion, incomplete. So I decided that I would fuse every single one of them that I found into a single giga iceberg. I also added a lot of stuff that they originally did not have, plus some theories I have about the lore and the world of Stalker. So no more stalling, let's get into it. Prepare yourself for the definitive Stalker iceberg. Tourist tier. Fresh-faced newcomer, completely new to the franchise and its lore. You haven't even entered the zone yet. So this tier is for you. It mostly serves as a way to kind of familiarize you with some of the basic concepts and, you know, the big players, the factions, and all the other basic information that you need to understand everything else in the iceberg. Stalker. Stalker is a video game series created by GSC Game World. It is inspired by the science fiction book Roadside Picnic and its film adaptation Stalker. It is set in the Chernobyl exclusion zone, where a second disaster has happened, transforming the entire exclusion zone into what is now known as simply the Zone, or the Zone of Alienation, a strange and unnatural place where anomalies that defy our understanding of physics and reality are commonplace, and deadly mutants roam the land. In the games, you play as a stalker, an individual that for one reason or another has entered the zone, either to make a profit from selling the artifacts that form there or to investigate its secrets. Stalker is also an acronym that means scavengers, trespassers, adventurers, loners, killers, explorers, and robbers. GSC Game World. GSC Game World is the developer behind the Stalker series, founded in 1995 and is based in the city of Kiev. Their first game was a third-person shooter called Codename Outbreak, and later on they also developed the video game series Cossacks. On December 9, 2011, GSC was dissolved and subsequently the original Stalker 2 was cancelled. Many employees, especially those who work on the Stalker series, formed 2 new studios and made new games that were inspired by their past work. Thankfully, in December 2014, GSC reopened and announced a new game in development. They have since then made Cossacks 3, a sequel to their other main long-running series, and have also restarted development on Stalker 2, now named Stalker 2 Heart of Chernobyl. Roadside Picnic. Roadside Picnic is a 1971 science fiction novel written by Arkady and Boris Strugatsky, commonly known as the Strugatsky brothers, and it's the main source of literary inspiration for the Stalker series. The games borrow a great deal from the novels, to the point that they can be considered a loose adaptation. The names and abilities of many of the anomalies and artifacts are many times lifted straight from the novel. Even the name Stalker itself comes from the book. Originally, Stalker was supposed to be even more similar to the novel in many aspects, but as time went on, it became more original, so to speak. The Chernobyl Disaster. The Chernobyl disaster was a nuclear catastrophe that happened in Ukraine on 26th of April 1986. It was caused by a multitude of factors ranging from human error to design flaws in the reactor's design. And ironically enough, the test that caused the reactor to explode was a safety test. This test meant to measure the ability of the steam turbine to power the emergency feed water pumps of a RBMK type nuclear reactor in the event of a simultaneous loss of external power and major coolant leak. During a planned decrease of reactor power in preparation for the test, the operators accidentally dropped power output to near zero, partially due to xenon poisoning, which is a gas that's used in this type of reactor, and it had accumulated inside of it. While recovering from the power drop and stabilizing the reactor, the operators removed a number of control rods. And upon test completion, the operators triggered a reactor shutdown. but due to a design flaw, this action resulted in localized increases in reactivity within the reactor. This resulted in rupture of fuel channels, leading to a rapid decrease in pressure, which caused the coolant inside the reactor to immediately turn to steam. This decreased the neutron absorption, leading to an increase in reactor activity, which further increased coolant temperatures. This endless loop would eventually result in a giant steam explosion and the melting of the reactor core. In response to the incident, a 30-kilometer exclusion zone has been put into place around the power plant. This area is highly radioactive and entrance is strictly forbidden. This area is the setting of the Stalker series, where it's now called the Zone of Alienation, or simply the Zone. However, differently from reality, the Zone of Alienation from the Stalker series is 60 kilometers wide instead of 30, and it was set up around the nuclear power plant following the 1986 disaster, and it was extended by the second Chernobyl disaster in 2006. Loners. Free stalkers, or loners as they are also called, make up the majority of stalkers in the zone. They are stalkers that are not aligned with any faction, and instead they work independently as freelancers, doing whatever jobs they feel like doing for whoever they feel like doing. While the faction is not very organized and does not have a central leader, loners seem to have a strong sense of brotherhood, so attacking a loner will make other loners hostile. And again, while they do not possess a main leader, they do have small figureheads, so to speak, that many loners rally around, such as Wolf and Fanatic in the Rookie Village and Beard in Zaton. Their main occupation in the zone is participating in the artifact trade. Loners risk their lives in the zone with the objective of locating and selling artifacts to enrich themselves. Loners have no standard equipment and thus come in all shapes and sizes when it comes to armament and suits, but they do tend to prefer Warsaw Pact weapons, and while some only have leather jackets, the ones that do have suits mostly wear the Sunrise suit, or if they're more wealthy, they use things like the Seva suit or the exoskeleton. Bandits. Bandits are criminals and felons that have escaped into the zone to run away from the law. They mostly steal artifacts from stalkers and deal in weapons. They are hostile to practically everyone and are thus hated by almost all factions. They are a constant nuisance for loners, and the two have been fighting each other basically since the beginning of the zone. Unlike the loners, the bandits actually try to keep a certain level of organized leadership, with leaders such as Yoga, Borov, and later Sultan. But many bandits simply don't follow these leaders and instead act within their own gangs, setting up ambushes for stalkers and being basically the highwaymen of the zone. They are one of the most poorly equipped factions of the zone, usually relying on low-grade weaponry and very light armors. Traders. Traders are the main buyers of artifacts in the zone. They are the ones responsible for setting up and organizing the artifact trade, and the two biggest and major traders in the zone are Sidorovich in the Cordon and Barman in Rostov. They also give out quests and contracts to the player. They are completely neutral in zone politics, with their only goal being profit. The military. The military, or more accurately the security service of Ukraine, are the military arm of the Ukrainian government and follow its orders to contain the zone. They are made up of Ukrainian soldiers that have been sent into the zone to guard the perimeter and conduct operations within the zone. They are in theory supposed to stop the artifact trade and keep trespassers to a minimum, but in reality they are one of the most corrupt factions in the zone, constantly accepting bribes to turn a blind eye and not enforce their orders, and many times they sell equipment to traders such as grenades, ammo, and even rifles that are then sold to stalkers. The military used to have a much larger presence in the zone, but after the second Great Emission they lost their base in the army warehouses and now they mostly stick to the borders of the zone. The average grunt is equipped with a simple vest and standard issue AK-74M rifle. but the more specialized troops such as the Spetsnaz have access to some of the best Warsaw Pact weapons in the game, and some of the best suits too. Duty. Duty is a paramilitary faction of stalkers operating in the zone, with members living according to a code. They are the rivals of Freedom and are also one of the most powerful stalker clans in the zone. They are mostly made up of ex-soldiers that were left behind in the zone during the multiple failed military operations launched by the Security Service of Ukraine. The members of Duty believe that the zone presents a mortal danger to all mankind and that it must be destroyed. They do not keep artifacts and don't engage in the artifact trade. Instead, they give all artifacts they find to the ecologists, and both factions have sort of a deal with each other. They are tolerant of loners and spend most of their time conducting raids against mutants, bandits, mercs, and anything else they see as either part of the zone or spreading its corruption. Because of this, they actually end up helping your average loner quite a lot, because they clear mutants and etc. They are engaged in a bitter war with Freedom, their ideological rival. By the time the first game begins, both factions are in a ceasefire agreement, and the main headquarters of the Duty faction is the Rostock factory, an area seen by many as the de facto capital of the zone. Most Duty members are equipped with light bulletproof vests and more effective Warsaw Pact weapons, but they also have access to many exoskeleton suits and some of the best Warsaw gear in the game besides the Spetsnaz. Freedom. Freedom is a clan of anarchist stalkers who fight for free access to the zone. They believe the zone is a miracle to mankind and that it must be preserved as an autonomous zone free from government intervention. They are the bitter rival of Duty, who they see as dumb jarheads who only know how to pull the trigger. In opposition to Duty's highly disciplined troops, Freedom has more of a lax command structure, and its members often partake of recreational drugs. They control the army warehouses and are also the ones defending the barrier against the monolith during Shadow of Chernobyl. In contrast to Duty, which uses mostly Warsaw Pact weapons, Freedom uses almost exclusively NATO or Western weapons, and in terms of suits, they have around the same amount of exos as Duty. And to be quite honest, both factions are quite similar when it comes to strength and power projection. Mercenaries. The mercenaries are a group of private military contractors operating within the zone. No one knows who hired the mercs, but they seem to have very rich patrons as they possess high quality equipment and Western weapons. Their true base of operations is unknown, hinting that it may be deep within the zone. They're one of the most secretive factions in the games, and many speak highly of their skills, saying that the mercs can annihilate small groups of loners, but that their services do not come cheap, demanding a so-called king's ransom in payment. They do not have a leader. Instead, there are many groups of mercs that operate, semi-independently from each other. Most mercs are very well equipped, using almost exclusively Western weapons and lightweight body armor, although there are some isolated cases of them using Warsaw Pact weapons. Their clients are most likely international research groups or corporations that wish to acquire either documents or artifacts from the zone through less than legal means. The Ecologists. The Ecologists are government-funded researchers sent into the zone with the objective of cataloging, studying, and overall attempting to understand the zone and its artifacts. Differently from the most factions, the Ecologists are not in the zone for profit or to destroy/preserve the zone.
Ground Zero is a small
i ze spadku sprzedaży w restauracjach, jak i problemy z inwestycjami, jak i tu wymieniają oczywiście jak zawsze stopy procentowe. To jest jedna z gałęzi przemysłu, która zwala na Elwirę, na Biolinę też swoje problemy. Ja tak dzisiaj będę wymieniał, dlatego Elwira się znalazła na okładce, bo tak wygląda, że jest teraz głównym winowajcą. Jak ktoś wymienia problemy, no to tam zawsze te stopy procentowe, a za stopy odpowiada Elwira, to jej stopy. Więc główna winowajczyni, tak nam się rysuje. Jeżeli chodzi o tą winowajczynię, jeżeli jesteśmy przy mroźnych tematach, to mam dla Was lodołamacze. Ale zanim te lodołamacze nastąpią, to przydałoby się pokazać kulę. Ja sobie je odświeżę. 15 maja, 9:05, więc już są podegrane. Gdzie my mamy kulę tu udostępniamy. Czy widzicie kulę? Tak, widzicie kulę. O, i dziś czerwono. Niemcy na czerwono, Polska na czerwono, Japonia na czerwono, Chiny i Wielka Brytania na czerwono, wszyscy na czerwono, a Stany Zjednoczone to z wczoraj. Jeszcze, bo Stany Zjednoczone otworzą się dziś po południu, więc dziś jakiś taki pesymizm. Piątek się zbliża. Słuchajcie, piątek się zbliża. Nigdy nie wiadomo, czy jakiś konflikt nie powstanie w weekend, więc pewnie wszyscy zapobiegawczo wycofują swoje środki. Jak tu wygląda nasz Wiguś? O, tu się nie podgrywa, jeżeli chodzi o miesięczne, jeżeli chodzi o surowce. Urals zrobił sobie w piątek wolne, więc tu akurat nie mam danych, ale był już poniżej $100 za baryłkę, więc pewnie gdzieś tam w tych okolicach się kręci. Brent odrobinę wzrósł, diesel odrobinę wzrósł w Unii Europejskiej, gaz też odrobinę, ale wczoraj mieliśmy spadki, więc tu pewnie jakieś jest odreagowanie, jeżeli chodzi o benzynę w Stanach Zjednoczonych. Cena hurtowa, no to tu znów delikatny spadek. Złoto w dół, srebro bardzo duży spadek w dół, miedź w dół. Pszenica kontynuuje swoje ciągłe wzrosty. Ja tylko zerknę na srebro. Zobaczcie, srebro nam się tu podnosiło i nagle zruch, spadek, lekka korekta, ale jak widzicie w ciągu 30 dni jednak wzrost, więc mamy tu pewien oddech.
przypiątki. No i co? Walut jeszcze, bo nie omówiliśmy. Umacnia się rubel w stosunku do wszystkich walut. Jeżeli chodzi o złotówkę, no to tu też tak to wygląda. Zamykamy kulę i przechodzimy do następnego tematu. Oj. I następny temat. Lodołamaczy też się nie da odbudować, ale zanim do lodołamaczy przejdę, tu jeszcze padło pytanie, dlaczego pszenica tak rośnie. Słuchajcie, ja nie wiem, czy nie ma to związku z nawozami. No bo mamy cieśninę zablokowaną. Te nawozy przez cieśninę Ormus duża część na świecie wypływała. Nie wiem, czy tam nie ma połączenia. Być może Paweł siedzi więcej w pszenicy, to nam zaraz opowie na czacie albo gdy wróci. Natomiast taki trend się utrzymuje od dłuższego czasu. Zabrakło lodu na Syberii, to fascynujące. Tak. To jeżeli chodzi o te lody takie spożywcze. Natomiast takie w szlakach morskich nie zabrakło, natomiast brakuje lodołamaczy. No i mieli budować lodołamacze, a wyszło jak zwykle. I szczegóły już opowiadam. Władze rosyjskie nie znalazły środków budżetowych na dokończenie budowy nowych lodołamaczy atomowych o cudownych, pięknych nazwach Leningrad i Stalingrad. A także nie znalazły pieniędzy na jednostki do obsługi tych lodołamaczy. Rząd rozważa obecnie pozabudżetowe opcje finansowania projektu, donosi komersant, znaczy się szukają tak zwanego jelenia, co kasę wyłoży. W 2022 roku całkowity koszt budowy tych okrętów miał wynosić 142 miliarda rubli. Ale obecnie, według dobrze